you know that I get bored when you keep like, what's wrong with your eye?
I got allergies.
Look that way.
Severe allergies.
Oh, man, his eye looks really red. What I was going to tell him, and I didn't realize it was recording, is that, you know, sometimes the longer all the like factoids go on.
That's
like,
what people watch. They want to know.
No, I know, it's good.
God, I look fat. Okay. I can't even believe I'm reviewing this movie, but I feel guilty because mentally I promised myself that I would do a video about every movie that I watched. And my kids really wanted me to watch this movie, and they bothered me until I finally watched it. This is a 2015 movie. It's a Walt Disney production, Tomorrowland. And this is a Blu-ray copy, which I do not like because they are shorter and smaller boxes than the DVD copy, and they don't fit evenly on the shelf, and that drives me absolutely insane. This movie was directed by a guy named Brad Bird, who is mostly known as an animator. It has a 2-hour and 10-minute runtime, and it cost between $180 million and $190 million to make. It was considered a complete box office flop, not including the marketing. It only made about $209 million worldwide, so this is considered a failure. The film was called Project T in other markets. So it was not marketed as Tomorrowland in other countries. What a terrible name.
I'm glad they fixed the name.
Well, in the U.S. it was marketed as Tomorrowland, but in other worlds it was marketed as Project T.
Other worlds? You mean like other countries? Okay.
Yeah, so the director, Brad Bird, he's known mostly as a Disney animator and writer on various films. He wrote for the movie The Incredibles and Ratatouille, which are excellent animated features from the Walt Disney Studios. This movie is centered around Walt Disney's optimism for the future. So, there you go. There's not a lot else on this movie. It has like a very futuristic version of reality and what they thought the world would be like in the 50s and 60s. And so this Tomorrowland world is kind of built around that. Tell me your thoughts. I don't really have anything else more to add about it, but you did watch this movie. I know the kids watched it entirely, and then the next day they really wanted me to watch it, so we all watched it. So they watched it back-to-back days. They loved it.
Yeah. Sorry, I do want to talk about this, but
this is the problem with doing these reviews with small children. You just it's
when the babies are too quiet, that's when you get concerned. Charlie, our oldest, really, really wanted me to watch it. I like it. It was entertaining, and it was like had some twists and turns that you weren't expecting, which is cool. So it wasn't like super predictable, but I'm still 3 out of 5, I guess. I mean, it was good, and there were maybe some tearjerker moments, but it wasn't like a classic. Like I saw it once. Like I doubt that I'll watch it again. It was a one watch, but for what it was, I can't believe George Clooney was in it.
So George Clooney plays the main actor. The protagonist is Hugh Laurie, the British actor. I think that in my mind, he is most well known for his Doctor television role on the show House.
Oh, yeah.
He played the main guy on that show, which is a superb television program.
He played a villain in this movie, yeah.
Okay, fun fact. The special effects were Industrial Lights and Magic, which is the George Lucas organization. Okay, so there's not really a whole lot on it, and I'm kind of like, bleh. The Rotten Tomato critic average is 49%. The audience score is not much better, with only 50,000 people submitting their average. Oh man, he's on the move. 50% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb 6.4 out of 10. To me, the box office totals often correlate with the movie and how it is. It was kind of disturbingly violent for being marketed as like a kid's Disney movie.
Oh yeah, like some people get zapped and they just like vaporize into thin air, and you're like, whoa! I thought this was a kid's film. Like that person's gone now. They're like completely just eliminated from existence. It was really scary.
There's AI androids that are very humanistic, and they're basically like these killer elite robots. and there's this whole alternate universe, this Tomorrowland world, and only certain people that are invited are allowed to go there. And it's kind of, again, going back to Walt Disney's Tomorrowland. They're making a movie off of a land inside of the Disneyland Magic Kingdom.
Didn't they kind of make the movie so there would be like, you know, like there's the land, and then they're like, oh, let's make a movie so people like have something to relate it to, so they'll want to go there.
This
right?
part I did like. The movie starts at the 1964 New York World's Fair that took place in Queens, New York, and then there's a portal to another dimension. So I did kind of like the interdimensional stuff. I think I would say first I was maybe, and I even wrote down that I was 2 out of 5, but now that I think about it, it was entertaining. It was better than that. I think I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 overall. I'm going to be in agreement with you on that.
I'm 3 out of 5.
It's not a classic, but it was a one-watch entertaining. I would not revisit this movie.
It was middle of the road, but I'm okay.
I don't know.
Just watching it
they
once.
were thinking this was going to be a huge movie and a big deal because obviously they spent big bucks on a budget, but it just did not resonate. It kind of has this whole guilt trip thing about environmentalism. They kind of have this, and maybe that's what people didn't like. That's at least one inclination that I was kind of reading into. They kind of have this whole world-ending thing about the environmentalism and global warming and seas rising and humanity destroying itself. So that's somewhat of an interesting thing. But perhaps the audience just wanted to go and escape things and not be patronized. It did have a silver lining. You can change the course of reality. So that's cool. But it just did not hit home with me. I remember when it came out, I was working in Los Angeles at the time doing retail merchandising, and I remember seeing billboards for this everywhere. They spent a ton of money on marketing it, and it just did not land with the audience. That's the review for Tomorrowland. It's been about 2 weeks since we've watched this and since I've typed my notes.
It feels like a long
I
time
apologize that I'm just now getting around to it. And now we're going to jump.
How dare you?
I feel guilty.
Took you so long?
So I've got a backlog of movies to review. So we're going to jump right into our next movie. Thanks for watching.